The news is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Romney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon, Nail Spa and Barbershop, Tisley Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, and Digicel, simply more speed, reliability and entertainment.
Plug into Digicel Plus and get even more entertainment with Disney Plus included. The best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic all in one place. Whenever you want, plug into Plus to enjoy Disney Plus and much more with a home fiber bundle. Sign up today. Digicel Plus.
The call is out to the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, to increase its budget to better its services to the Virgin Islands and other associate members. It was while addressing the 29th session of the Caribbean Development and Cooperation Committee on October 14, 2022, Special Envoy of the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Mr. Benito Whitley, noted the need for an increase of ECLAC's budget.
I particularly want to thank the chief of ECLAC Sub-Regional Headquarters in the Caribbean, Mrs. Diane Corliss, for her fearless championing of the cause of the associate members at the Commission. She is actually the person who initially recognized the need for ECLAC to robustly re-engage the associate members, especially after the hurricanes of 2017 that devastated many of us. It is my hope that under the leadership of the new Executive Secretary, Mr. Jose Manuel Salazar Sirachens, that the Commission will continue its robust support for associate members. In fact, I hope he goes further than before by increasing the Commission's budget allocation to its sub-regional headquarters in the Caribbean to regularize the technical assistance available to associate members. This is the logical expansion of the Caribbean First strategy. The Port of Spain office's responsibility for 15 member states and 13 associate members should be reflected in its budgetary resources. It will be difficult to sustain engagement with the associate members if it is not clear that the Commission can assist them in some way. I do hope that we will have an opportunity in the very near future for an audience with Mr. Salazar to further consult on the specific needs of the associate members.
Whitley also took time to right the misconception that the Virgin Islands is funded by the United Kingdom government, as he outlined a number of challenges the territory is grappling with since 2017.
I want to begin by clarifying that the BVI does not receive any budgetary or financial support from the United Kingdom. This is a regular misconception. We stopped receiving grant and aid in 1978. Like most governments, we must raise revenue to fund our operational budget and the delivery of public services. I mention this because there's often the assumption that the UK takes care of us. This is definitely not the case in the BVI. Even after Hurricanes Irma and Maria, the government did not receive any direct grants for reconstruction from the UK or international donors. Their view was that despite being struck by 2 Category 5 hurricanes, we were not eligible for such assistance. Rather, we were encouraged to take out commercial loans. However, the political conditions attached to the loan guarantee offered by the UK on which to borrow were not judged to be acceptable by the BVI government. Thus, we pursued loans on the strength of our own credit. The only financial resources we were able to secure was $115 million in loans from the Caribbean Development Bank. These loans funds have been expended. So as you can see, Excellencies, there's a very real gap in terms of international financial support and development assistance to the BVI. We are not eligible in most cases for grants from international donors based on the OECD DAC rules. As a small government, we also do not have the fiscal capacity to commercially borrow all of the estimated amounts of money needed to do the things that need to be done, such as building climate resilience and implementing sustainable development. This is why the BVI wishes to be included in the Caribbean Resilience Fund. The fund would at least give us one additional option to respond to our financing challenges as a vulnerable small island developing state. As a consequence of our limited access to concessional financing, hurricane recovery remains incomplete 5 years after two Category 5 storms devastated the BVI. Fortunately, most homes were insured, which provided families with the capital to rebuild. A large swath of the private sector also had insurance coverage for business continuity. The public sector, however, was unfortunately not in the same position. The burden of rebuilding public infrastructure fell completely on the shoulders of the government, who has been footing the bill for reconstruction. We have rehabilitated a number of government installations and roads, but there are many structures that remain in disrepair. Our efforts to accelerate recovery were considerably slowed down by the pandemic as government diverted funds to COVID response. Presently, the impact of high inflation and high fuel and energy costs is also consuming public resources as limited funds are expended to assist families. We are left to do more borrowing if we want to complete the task of recovery.
This is not without saying that ECLAC has been of tremendous help to the territory.
Since the hurricanes, we have been in the process of reconceptualizing the future growth and development of the BVI. The storms, COVID-19, and our recent political crisis have shaken the BVI to its very foundations. Even before the slew of recent crises we experienced, we were already aware that our development model had reached its limits and there would be only diminishing returns without a change of course. We identified national renewal based on sustainable development as the logical way forward, benchmarked by the Sustainable Development Goals. We have a golden opportunity to set the BVI on a sustainable path. It is also our chance to lay the foundation for an economic transformation into a more diversified, tourism-led, investment-driven, low-carbon economy. The BVI has ECLAC to thank for helping us to get the ball rolling. This began with ECLAC's inclusion of the BVI in a Caribbean-based program on mapping the SDGs to the national budget. This was extremely helpful. Consultants were then deployed to assist the government with developing a national sustainable development plan. We are very grateful to Diane, Abdul, and the team at the sub-regional headquarters for facilitating our technical assistance requests. I am very pleased to report that after nearly 2 years of public consultations, the pre-final draft of the plan has been completed and is now receiving comments from the political directorate before final approval. The plan has the support of all political parties and will be our roadmap to a sustainable future. Where we now need additional support is policy implementation and resource mobilization. More specifically, the ministries of government need technical assistance to prepare their strategies for implementation of the National Sustainable Development Plan. We also need technical assistance to help us identify and secure the resources needed to fund the plan. I am appealing to the Commission, especially our colleagues in Santiago, to consider the BVI's request for additional technical assistance. We are also very keen to discuss with the Commission a special form of cooperation with our government on assessing and reporting our progress on sustainable development, since we currently do not submit a voluntary national review under the established international mechanism.
Pursuant to Resolution 358 of 1975, the Caribbean Development and Cooperation Committee was created as a permanent subsidiary body of the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, to promote development cooperation among Caribbean countries.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Freeze. Choose your mix, choose your flavor.